Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the G Suite for Education national live stream. Today, we will be introducing CourseKit, how to integrate G Suite tools with instruction. My name is Drew Seidel. I'm a program manager on the G Suite for Higher Education team. To give you a quick idea of what we'll be covering today, first, we'll be doing an overview of CourseKit, a new tool from Google for Education. Next, we'll be providing a CourseKit demo. And lastly, we'll be doing Q&A with the team that created CourseKit. I'd like to take this time to ask as a reminder to please do submit your questions on the homepage for the national live stream. There's a Q&A section at the bottom. Please do submit your questions there so that we can answer them towards the end of our session today. And we're joined today by Brian Hendricks. He's the product manager of CourseKit, and it's my pleasure to hand things over to Brian.
Hi, everyone. As Drew mentioned, I am Brian Hendricks, the product manager for CourseKit. We're part of the G Suite for Education product team, which covers Google Classroom, Google Forms, and CourseKit. I joined G Suite about 9 months ago after 7 years on other Google products like Project Fi, Chromecast, Android, and Google Maps. And it's been really exciting to see the strong interest in CourseKit and using G Suite to facilitate teaching and learning. I'll now hand it off to Marta to give an introduction about CourseKit.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marta McAllister, and I'm a program manager on the G Suite for Education product and engineering team. I work with Brian and Drew. In addition to launching new higher ed solutions, my job is really to drive the voice of users in product and program design. So my role involves running a number of pilot programs to get user feedback and input on our offerings before they actually launch. And one of those is CourseKit, which I'm excited to talk to you all about today. So we're going to go over CourseKit today, which is one of the product offerings my team has been piloting for the last year, and it's currently in beta. We'll give you some more information at the end of this live stream for how you can sign up for that beta. I'll start us off with an overview of why we built CourseKit and what it is, and then I'll hand it off to Brian, my teammate, who will go through a demo of it in more depth. So at Google, we firmly believe in the power of collaboration, especially between instructors and students. But we know that that can be increasingly challenging as more and more edtech solutions get deployed at your organizations. A lot of these systems are built just by the companies themselves and are not necessarily designed to play nice with one another. That can often cause a lot more friction instead of connection. But we believe that technology should facilitate this connection and not create more barriers, which is why we aspire to create more product integrations so that you can use Google, but within your existing systems. So to further prove our commitment, Google is actually now an IMS Global contributing member. For those of you not familiar with IMS Global, it's an organization and really a movement dedicated to advancing technology adoption by creating affordable, scalable, and standardized education tools. And we've been actively engaged in this community. So one of the first IMS standards we've committed to as members of IMS Global, with CourseKit in particular, is the Learning Tools Interoperability, or LTI standard. That standard allows us to bring the best of G Suite to whatever learning management system that you're already using. The beauty of these global standards is really ubiquity and access. So if your learning management system supports LTI today, then you can already leverage CourseKit. We know this is especially important for those of you that use Docs and Drive files for things like assignments, but within a third-party LMS. And historically, we know that's been challenging. Say if students had to convert a Google Doc to a PDF or insert a link to that Google Doc and get taken out of the LMS, that hasn't been necessarily ideal. But with CourseKit, we handle the turn-in and grading process, which we'll show you more of today. So as I mentioned, CourseKit is currently in beta and with 2 tools to start. The first is the CourseKit assignment tool, which really is built to streamline feedback and grading. We'll do a demo of all of these features. The other is the Embed tool, which allows you to insert files from Google Drive right into your LMS. And if the term kit doesn't give it away, we expect to add more tools to the set over time. So CourseKit really has 3 main goals. One is to save instructors time so that they can spend less time on redundant or repetitive feedback and give students richer feedback. We also want to streamline how G Suite works in your LMS and in existing systems that you already use. And the last is really to allow users at your institution to leverage the power of Google Files from within your learning management system and not having to do that as a hacky workaround outside of that system. So I'm going to go through a few examples, including why we built these features, and then I'll hand it off to Brian to actually demo these in more depth. So the first is the assignment setup process, where instructors can actually create a course kit assignment from within whatever LMS they're using. Say you're using Blackboard or Canvas or Moodle or one of the other open LMSs like Sakai. We accommodate the assignment creation process from within that LMS directly. Another feature is the ability to embed any file. So we can embed any file that's stored in Drive today. Say, for example, you want your course syllabus, which might be in the form of a Google Doc, to be shown as an iframe from within your learning management system, or you have a Google Doc with the reading materials. We allow you to actually embed that file right within your LMS in the context of the assignment, which Brian will show off in a bit. Students can also submit assignment files either from their Google Drive or from their hard drive. We know that students might store their assignments in multiple places, so we accommodate multiple ways of turning in assignments. We also accommodate any file type that can be stored in Google Drive today. So not only Google Editor files like docs, sheets, and slides, but also PDFs, JPEGs, videos, Jamboard files, etc. One of the best features of Google Files is that they're constantly editable and always alive. But we know that that's not always ideal when you're trying to grade student work. So one of the things that we also do in CourseKit is actually manage the file permissions exchange that happens. So when students turn in assignments, for example, we temporarily change the ownership of those files from students to the instructor. So while the instructor is grading, students won't see things like comments or suggested edits. They won't see any of that in real time. They'll only get that feedback when the assignment is returned to them. Similarly, some of you might be familiar with Google Docs and how multiple people can edit the file anytime. Students only have view-only access to the file while it's being graded. So they can't make any last-minute changes to the file while the instructor's grading it, which we know wouldn't be ideal. But let's say, for example, the instructor does something terrible and accidentally eats the student's homework and does something like delete the file. Just in case anything like that happens, we do automatically create a backup of the file that's automatically stored in the student's drive in a folder called CourseKit Assignments, which they can rename, and they own a copy of the file that's preserved in the state that it was in when they turned in the file. That way, if anything happens to their homework while it's turned in or to their assignment or their paper, they always have access to something, to their work that they can access at any time and edit. Two of our most popular features are what we call the student switcher and the file switcher. Both of these features were built in direct response to feedback from a lot of instructors and teaching assistants that were grading assignments, particularly for large courses. So our team ran about 8 months of studies with a variety of instructors, graders, teaching assistants, etc. And something we heard over and over again is that particularly for large courses, when you have multiple assignments for that course, say, for example, if you had an essay, a video, and presentation slides, if you had 100 students in that class with 3 file assignments for that assignment, that's 300 tabs of student work to manage at any given time to grade that assignment. So for that reason, we make it really easy for graders to be able to switch between students in the same tab experience, as well as switching between files between that same tab experience. So you never have to leave the page you're on to navigate between different students in your course. As I mentioned, our team ran months of studies before we ran our first pilot of CourseKit, and one of the most consistent things that we heard from instructors was that they spent a lot of time on repetitive and often not the richest feedback, sometimes not very personalized. Feedback like, please use MLA formatting here, or here's how to use a semicolon for the 50 millionth time. That type of feedback that was often repetitive, but really not at the heart of what they wanted to tell students that was personalized to them. The comment bank, which is the feature that we're showing on this slide, really allows instructors to save that commonly used feedback and easily retrieve it without needing to retype and waste time on the same comments over and over again. Brian will go through this feature in more depth, but we're eager to improve it over time. So if any of you listening on this are participants in our beta, we'll go over ways that you can share feedback with our team, and we'd love your suggestions. So one of the final things I'll show off before handing it off to Brian is what happens after instructors finish grading. So a few things happen. After instructors finish grading, they can return student work either individually or more likely in bulk once they've graded everyone's work. So return the assignment to all students at once. And a few things happen. So the first thing that happens is CourseKit syncs the grade that you put in the CourseKit grader back to the Learning Management System gradebook. And in the event that you have the denominator set to 100 in CourseKit, but forgot that it was set to 20 in your LMS, we actually automatically proportionally sync to the denominator set in your LMS, as we treat the Learning Management System gradebook as the source of truth. Second, students will get an email notifying them that their assignment has been graded, and that email will have a link that takes them back to the LMS so that they can see their graded assignment and look at the feedback and comments that their instructors left them. And then finally, similar to that file exchange that I mentioned earlier, where students turned in their work and we made the instructor the temporary owner, now we do that file exchange again, except in reverse. So when students get their work back and instructors have returned the work, now the student owns their original file again, and they can do anything they want with that file. One of the pieces of feedback we heard loud and clear from instructors is that if students own their work again, the instructor wants to make sure they have a preserved copy as well, just in case they need evidence for plagiarism detection, or if a student contests their grade, they'll always have a preserved copy. So one thing that we accommodate for is that automatic copy again in Drive. So when the instructor returns the assignment to students, even if the student revokes access to the instructor to the file, the instructor will have an automatic copy of the assignment in the state that it was in, with all the comments and the grade preserved for them and automatically stored and organized in their Drive for them. The way we organize it in Drive is by course, assignment, and student. And that way instructors can always access that preserved copy in case they need it. Great, so that was just a brief overview of CourseKit and a little bit of a peek under the hood, I should say, behind the curtain of why we built some of the features that we have currently available in our beta. But now Brian will actually take you through a live demo of all the features I just explained. So I think some of you are having difficulty hearing the live stream. We're going to troubleshoot that so that you can hear Brian demoing CourseKit. Hold on with us for one moment.
I think we were on mute. That might have been the issue. So very quickly, going to come back. And so I'm going to kind of switch over to CourseKit in action and show you how it works within Canvas. CourseKit works no matter which learning management system you have, so long as it supports LTI. So if you have Blackboard, Moodle, Sakai, D2L, anything like that, the user experience will be consistent. But for today, I'll be showing you it within the Canvas user experience. So here I am. This is first as instructor view. I have a few courses, but I'll go into History 210. There are a few assignments. I'll first show you the file embed tool and then go over and show you the assignment tool, which has a bunch of features to show. But for example, I'm going to go into my announcements. And here I have a syllabus that I've used the CourseKit file embed tool to be able to embed a Google Doc within the Canvas user experience. So this screen here, this is a Google Doc, and it is available for all of my students to see. To show you that, I'm going to go over and switch to a student and show you what it looks like. And go into History 210. Go check out announcements. Go see the syllabus. And there is that document that the instructor was able to embed. And the file embed tool works with any file that can be stored in Google Drive. So it can be a doc, a sheet, slide, a video, a PDF. And the great thing about the file embed tool, it will automatically set up the user permissions of your file so that the students in your class can see it. Through our research, we've learned that it was sometimes really challenging for instructors to use Google Drive to share files, as they had to manually add a bunch of students to that file, and also students would have to log in before they can view files from their learner management system. So with the file embed tool, we've eliminated those problems. As you can see with this screen, I didn't have to log in first as a student into my Google account to be able to necessarily see this file. So we're really excited about the potential for the file embed tool to allow instructors to create course materials using G Suite and embed that within their learner management system where students can access it without having to leave the LMS. So I'm going to go back to Instructor to be able to demo for you the CourseKit assignment tool. So back to my assignments. I'm going to go into assignment number 1 here. And so within the LMS user experience, we now have embedded the CourseKit assignment tool over here. I have a few students who've already turned in some work, and we bucket for the instructor students that they've already reviewed or have a draft grade for but haven't returned back to the student who needs to still be reviewed but have submitted some work, and students that have already been graded and the grades have been sent back to the gradebook. So these 40 out of 50 and 50 out of 50, they'll appear within the LMS gradebook when you open it up. So I'm going to go in and review a student. So now we have this brand new grading user interface that we've created for CourseKit. Kind of walk through it. As Marta was showing, we have a student switcher up here, which allows you to easily toggle through individual students and see their draft grades or their final grade, as well as which students still need to be graded. I'm going to browse through a couple. And also, as Marta showed, on the right-hand side here, we make it really easy for you to browse between multiple files that a student submitted. So go between doc, PDF, slide. I'm going to go into now student some new work. What we've also done is we default to collapsing the Google Docs toolbar over here, but you can still access it. We've done that so you can maximize the amount of space you have to see the document. And then also we default to suggestion mode for Google Docs. For those who are less familiar with Docs, in suggestion mode, what I can do is we'll take over here. I need to add a comma. When I make some edits, it will automatically add some comments to the document for the student. But in this view, since it's not a direct edit to the document, the student will actually see these suggestions until after the assignment's been returned back to them and the student gets back ownership of that file. So it's a way where you can leave suggestions and comments privately until the assignment's been returned. Another feature, great thing about Google Docs is you can leave comments, margin comments. I'm just going to say something like "nice work." But what we've learned through our research is for certain types of assignments, you're leaving the same feedback over and over again about citing citations or sources, punctuation errors, spelling errors, things of that nature. And although you want to personalize that feedback, it'd be helpful if there was a way in which you can reuse some of the same language over and over again. And so that's what we've developed the comment bank for. The comment bank is a way for you to save commonly used pieces of feedback that you would normally leave within a margin comment and easily re-access those when leaving a comment. Here's just a list of some example ones that I have. And what that means is when I open up a new margin comment, I can use a hashtag to then pull up and search through my comment bank and find a comment I'm interested in reusing. And then in addition, after I select that comment, I'm still able to personalize it related to that particular element that I'm commenting on. So for example, I pulled up great use of metaphor, but then can still say, please remember to change it next time, whatever I like to say. And as I'm leaving these comments throughout a document, I can also quickly add those to my comment bank by selecting it over here, add the comment bank, and now I can save it for the next time. We've also enabled margin comments and the comment bank for PDFs and videos and images. So it's not just for Google Docs, sheets, and slides. So here I have a PDF document, and I can highlight an area, create a margin comment, and then pull up something from my comment bank that I'm interested in using. And on the right-hand side over here, we can leave a grade as well as an overall feedback and move on. It's now updated that there's a draft grade. And give me a heads up, I haven't returned this assignment. I'm going to go ahead right now and return this particular assignment to student 3. And when I do this, what happens is it takes that 40 out of 50. It's going to put that grade into my learning management gradebook, and then also return ownership of the assignment back to the student. And then it'll save a copy of all 3 of these files for that particular student into my Google Drive with the comments I've left, so that if I ever need to refer to them later, if the student, say, resolved it or deleted it or took away my access, it'd still be preserved for me to see. Over here. Just want to show another example of how I can also view Google Slides and all sorts of some files that are available to a student. I'm now going to actually go back and switch to a new student who hasn't turned in their work yet. I'm going to show you what that experience is like. Here I am in my assignment, going to assignment number 1. Going to open this assignment to be able to turn it in. And from here, the student has 2 choices. They can either create a brand new Google Doc sheet or slide. We made that really easy. so that if a student hasn't started their work yet and wants to use Google Docs, it's available for them to create a new doc. They can select it from there. It's already ready to turn in. They can edit. Then, of course, you can add files from your Google Drive. Here's just a few examples. I'm going to add this PDF and this slides. But while we've made CourseKit to help students and instructors who are interested in using Google Drive and G Suite to create and turn in and grade assignments, we also recognize that not every single student will use those files. So of course it still also supports uploading any other type of file, including Office files. Here's like a .docx. I will upload it. Give that a second. And what we do for those types of files, it will actually convert that file automatically from a .doc to a Google Doc, but we still store in the background that original Word file so that the instructor is able to toggle between those and see the original if necessary. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute as we submit those files. Great. Students all set. I'm now going to go back to my instructor view. Need to refresh student. Now have that new student that just turned in their work. So as I scroll through, so the original file, as I mentioned, was not a Google Doc, but it's converted now so that the instructor can use all the rich collaboration features of Google Docs, such as margin comments and suggestion mode. But if necessary, you can toggle back and forth between the original file and what was converted into Google Docs. And then lastly, what I wanted to call out is our send feedback button, where as you're using the product, you can click this button. It'll take a capture of what you're looking at, and you can send our team feedback, whether it's positive, negative, or any ideas that they're interested in. And we look at this feedback almost every day and help prioritize what we build based off of the feedback that we get. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Marta to talk to you about how you can actually start using CourseKit.
Great. Drew, can you bring up the slides again? Perfect. So I see on the Q&A site that a lot of you are asking, when can I actually use CourseKit? The great answer is you can actually start using it today. You just have to sign up for our beta. So if you sign up at g.co/CourseKit, you can actually sign up for it right now and start using it as soon as we whitelist you. It is a whitelist only beta, but we whitelist everyone that agrees to the agreement for the beta and signs up via that site. So if you're interested in participating, please do sign up. As Brian mentioned, this is a time to get your feedback via that send feedback button, and every submission is a vote. So even if your entire staff wants to gang up on us to request a particular feature, that's totally fine. That actually directly informs our product roadmap. We will plan to release CourseKit more broadly outside of beta at some future point. I'll defer to Brian on sharing that, but we are currently accepting folks today. So if you do want to use it in beta, please feel free to sign up at g.co/CourseKit. The other thing is we actually pilot things all the time. So as I mentioned, actually I see some familiar names on the Q&A list itself. Some of you actually participated in our CourseKit pilot, so thank you. But if you're also interested in forming new product development, so products that are soon to be created, soon to be released to the world, and you want to inform those as they go and be an extension of our product team, we have a great pilot program that you can participate in. So if you're a K-12 institution that's the link that you'll want to follow. And for higher ed, the one below. Please note that both of these links are case sensitive. So the T and H are capital in the first one and the J and M are capital in the second one. But if you sign up for those, our team will reach out with future pilot opportunities that you might want to participate in. Great. So with that, I'll hand it back over to the team. We can take a lot of your questions now. So I'm looking at the Q&A form here.
One moment. Before we hop into Q&A, a quick ask. At Google, we take feedback very seriously. As you've heard a few times from Marta and Brian today, oftentimes it's feedback around our tools. We also give lots of feedback internally from how we work. And one thing that we'd like to ask as a favor from you is feedback on today's session. So we, in classic launch and iterate style, this is a very new series. This is only our second G Suite for Higher Education national live stream. And we would so much love to learn from you what's going well, what components you appreciate, and how we can improve this moving forward. So we're going to take a few seconds right now, just about 1 to 2 minutes, to give you some time to give us your feedback. You should see this feedback link appearing at the bottom of our live stream page now. So we're going to mute and take a moment to look at the questions that you have been asking. And then we'll be coming back together after you've submitted your feedback to answer your questions. I'll also take this time as a reminder to please, if you have a question that you have not asked yet, please do ask that at the bottom of our live stream page as well. So we'll come back together in about 90 seconds, and we look forward to answering your questions. Thank you. Thank you so much to those of you that have submitted feedback. If you have not submitted yet, please take these last few seconds to let us know how today's session went for you. And now we're going to be digging into your questions. The first question, which was highly upvoted with a total of 19 votes, comes from Joy Pine Thomas. And the question is, can the assignment go through Turnitin if it is a Google Doc? And I'll be handing things over to Marta and Brian to give their answer.
I'll take that one. And so for Turnitin right now, the workflow for that would be to still separately have the students submit the assignment to Turnitin. We've heard a lot of feedback and interest about either integration with Turnitin or having a way to support originality detection within CourseKit. So we are working on ways where we can solve that, but don't have any updates right now around the timing of that. But no, it's highly requested.
Thank you, Brian. The next question, also highly upvoted with a 6, is from Sandra McVeigh. Sandra asks, is the function to grade based on a rubric or multiple rubrics of multiple graders evaluating different components of the work available?
I can take this one if you want, Brian. So similar to what Brian just said on the question with Turnitin and originality checkers, we've heard a lot of feature requests and feedback around rubrics. CourseKit doesn't currently support any rubric integration or first-party rubric creation, but it is something that we have heard a lot and that we're looking into. If you have specific requests or ideas for what a rubric functionality should or could look like, and you're using CourseKit today, please use that send feedback button to share your thoughts with us, because we're trying to do that in the most thoughtful way possible.
All right, our next question comes from Lauren. Lauren asked, is there a way to use a rubric when grading?
So I think that's pretty similar to the question I just answered. We can skip to the next one.
One thing I would add, though, is sorry for the feedback. There are some add-ons to Google Docs that would allow you to kind of generate and insert a rubric into that doc to kind of provide some feedback. So though it's not an official CourseKit feature, there are some ways where you can do that in the interim while we work on supporting rubrics.
That's what I was thinking about. Thanks, Brian. The next question comes from Brandon. Brandon asks, if I embed a doc, is it static, or can I update the doc from Drive and then it updates the embedded version? Thinking about posting schedules or syllabus items, but needing to change them at various points during the semester. Would I have to re-embed them or just update the file? It sounds like Brian will be answering this question.
Yes. So when you embed a file from Drive, if you make any updates to it, it will automatically update that file for what you embed. So say you embed a doc or a slide, then you go into Drive and edit it. Those updates will automatically feed over.
Thanks, Brian. Our next question is from Jasmine. Jasmine asks, when will the CourseKit be available to use? And as Marta mentioned earlier, it is currently available in beta. We are whitelisting domains, and as Marta had mentioned as well, we are whitelisting all domains that apply and also agree to our trial or beta terms of service. So it is ready to use today. And as Brian mentioned, there are plans to launch it publicly, hopefully soon. Not sure if you have anything else you'd like to add, Brian.
We're working as quickly as we can to make it available to everyone, but our goal is over the next semester or two to make it more widely available.
Our next question also comes from Brandon. Brandon asks, is the ownership of the document given to the instructor, or is it given to the LMS? Do I have to connect my Google account somehow within the LMS for the handoff to work properly?
I can take part of that, Brian, and you can fill in if I don't answer it all. I'll answer the second question first. Yes, you have to use a G Suite for Education or your institutional Google account. So at your .edu account, it has to be linked with the LMS in order to configure your assignments with CourseKit. And you do, as the instructor, have ownership of the file in your Drive in that account, so in your institutional account. Brian, you might have to answer the second part, which is I don't know if any file or copy of the LMS keeps the file as well.
No, all of the files are managed and stored through Google Drive.
Right. So my answer holds true.
Indeed. And something I would add to that as well is this is something that was requested as far as somewhat pushing instructors to use their organization provided Google account as opposed to using a personal Gmail type account to do things like interact with students, give feedback, do grading, things of that nature, especially for compliance reasons with regulations like FERPA and COPA. We recognize that it's very important for instructors to be using an organization provided account as opposed to a gmail.com account. So we hope that this will encourage that behavior and make sure that everyone stays safe and in compliance as well. Our next question comes from Melissa. Melissa asks, can instructors comment on media and video files?
Yes, so I showed off just an example of a PDF, but a student can turn in a audio file, video file, a drawing. It works with Google Sites as well if they want to turn an entire website. So the motto is, if it can be stored in Google Drive, it can be turned in with CourseKit. So a wide range of multimedia files can be created with CourseKit, and then also the kind of margin commenting functionality that I showed with a PDF, that also will work with images, videos, drawings, etc.
Thanks, Brian. Our next question comes from Timothy. Timothy asks, is it embedding files without publishing to the web? Currently, I can embed using that function in Sakai.
So for the file embed tool, it won't make that file publicly searchable on the web, but the way in which we're able to manage the permissions and allow students to view it without logging in. Anyone with the link, if they happen to have that link, would be able to access it. But within the file embed user experience, you are staying within the LMS, so you're not popping out and viewing in a different tab where that link is available. But yes, for the time being, it is openly available for anyone who has that link.
And Drew, I saw another question that actually got upvoted that we missed that's actually now further up in the list from Jackie. Does comment bank stay with one course, or can it access different courses? So currently you can use your comment bank across assignments. I defer to Brian to confirm if that's also across courses, but we've heard a lot of feedback from instructors wanting to be able to segment comment banks by course, because they might have different types of comment or feedback that they give for a particular course and not for another. But currently it works across. Anything you want to add to that, Brian?
Yep. So your comment bank is your personal comment bank that's available for any course, any assignment. And so we are working on a way where you can also say or tag a comment to say this is actually for this type of course or assignment. So it's a little bit easier to manage if you get to a few hundred pieces of comments.
Right, but the comment bank is associated with your G Suite account, not with the course or the assignment itself for now.
Thanks for catching that, Marta. It's been fun to watch the upvoting and how questions are rising and falling. So a next question that was just recently upvoted is from Mark. So Mark asks, are embedded documents 508 compliant, allowing them to work with a screen reader?
So when you embed the document, it iframes in that document into the LMS. And so if it's a Google Doc or a file that's natural to Google, that is compliant and works with a screen reader, depending on if it's like a multimedia file or another kind of audio file that we don't always have control over whether or not it's accessible, works with a screen reader. But we have tested it and built accessibility in mind.
Thank you, Brian. Our next question is from Taylor. Taylor asks, how about peer review? Is allowing students to give feedback to peers on the roadmap?
So one of the great things about G Suite and Google Docs is its collaborative functionality. And so we're excited about the potential and the future of how we can use that functionality to facilitate things like peer review and student-to-student feedback, and not just instructor-to-student feedback. But for now, it doesn't support that.
Thank you, Brian. Our next question is going to come from Daniel. And Daniel asks, does CourseKit support peer-to-peer grading?
I believe that's a similar question to the one just answered about peer reviews. Yeah.
So actually, I was going to ask a question, and then it just jumped up on me. The next question is coming from Allison. And Allison had asked if CourseKit was going to be replacing the Google Drive LTI tool that's currently available on Canvas. And this may be a similar answer for other LTI tools that are currently built involving Google Drive.
Yeah, so we've been partnering closely with Canvas to evaluate how we can make that switch. For now, as course kits in beta, the two tools are separate, but we are working actively with them so that once course kits out of beta, there are both good opportunities for a transition.
Looks like our next question from Mark is actually a little bit of a mix of feedback and question. So Mark comments, indexing submissions by assignment is nice, but is there a way to index by student towards portfolio assessment, for example?
That's a great feature request. There isn't currently a way to do that, but we'll jot that down and consider it. Thank you.
And this may also be another opportunity to reiterate that there is a way to directly submit feedback to the product team within CourseKit. So if you are using CourseKit, please do let us know your feature requests. Please let us know what's working well for you. If you have any ideas for what we should build next or something that's causing you a hassle or a headache, please do submit that feedback, and we would love to work towards making it a better experience for you.
Yeah, and the one thing I would call out in the theme of portfolio assessment that is interesting and not something we necessarily build CourseKit thinking about, but that we definitely saw happen in the pilot program. As I mentioned, you can submit any file type that can be stored in Drive, and technically sites and jam files can be submitted for assignments using CourseKit. So if you do have students doing portfolio work in a Google site and want that site to be graded, they can use CourseKit for that type of submission.
Thanks, Marta. And for our folks helping out on the back end, Ryan and Megan, Elise asked us to please put the two links back up. Apparently they are not viewable currently. So if you are able to add, I believe that would be the feedback link and potentially the link for Q&A. If you can put that back, please do. Okay, so a couple quick questions. I can answer the first. One comes from Rob. So Rob's asking, how can I get the recording of this so I can share it with faculty? So we will make this recording available actually on this same homepage. So the homepage you use to view our national live streams for G Suite for Education, our recordings will be viewable there. The other thing that we'll be doing is sending out a follow-up email, especially to those that have submitted feedback, that have registered this event. If we have your email address, we will be sending you an email with information about what was discussed today. There will be information like, here's the recording link, here's the link to sign up for the CourseKit beta, here's the, I believe, the admin help articles for CourseKit, and we'll also include that link to sign up for other G Suite for Education pilots and beta opportunities. So you should be getting an email after this, but you'll also be able to view that recording on this homepage.
I also saw Rob's question jumped up in addition to thanking us for the session, which you're welcome. Thank you for joining. You asked if there are any plans to add the ability to create a copy of a document automatically for each student that they can edit and submit, similar to the functionality in Google Classroom. That's kind of what we call the make a copy functionality. It's the digital copy machine. Definitely something we've heard requested a lot in the beta and something we're looking into how to do well. If you are familiar with Google Classroom and you use CourseKit, you've probably noticed a lot of similarities in the functionality. A lot of the same engineering work was leveraged for CourseKit from the classroom team. So we're trying to use as many best practices from that system as possible, and make a copy functionality is definitely one that we're looking into. But that's currently not available, but it's a great suggestion.
Thanks, Marta. Kelly, it sounds like there are some connection issues or not able to hear audio. So, as we mentioned before, this will be available and you'll be getting a follow-up email after today's session, thanking you, and also with the recording link, and you'll be able to see that recording on this homepage. Okay. I think we have time for just a few more questions. So the next comes from Leslie. Leslie asks, what happens if you copy a past course to a new semester using the LMS course copy procedure or import procedure? Do the Google Docs get copied over as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way it works is if you copy over a course and the assignments themselves would be configured to work with the CourseKit assignment tool, as well as any files you embedded will also still be copied over. But the assignments themselves would be fresh. So if you had students submit assignments to course in semester 1, then you copy over for semester 2, it'd be a blank slate. So you can copy everything over.
All right, thank you for that. Our next question comes from Adam. Adam asks, if you're not an existing G Suite for Education customer, what's the backend system that CourseKit uses? And what are the user identities that get created using the LTI?
So you are required to be a G Suite for Education customer to be able to use CourseKit, as well as all the faculty that want to use CourseKit for their assignments or file embedding need to have a G Suite for Education account. And Drew, can you repeat the second half of that question, actually?
Yeah, the second component was, what are the user identities that get created using LTI?
So CourseKit uses the Learning Management System ID, so nothing new is actually being created. The way it works is the first time a user connects to a course using CourseKit, they're asked to sign in with their Google account, and it links together their Google account with their LMS ID for that course.
And Adam, just a quick comment there as well. If your organization is currently not using G Suite for Education, G Suite for Education is free. It is unlimited. You get access to as many user accounts as needed, and those user accounts have unlimited Drive storage and unlimited Gmail storage. So if bringing G Suite for Education and CourseKit to your organization is something that is of interest for you, please do leave that in the feedback for us. We have a team here at Google that works directly with colleges and universities and K-12 school districts for that matter, to help them implement things like G Suite for Education, CourseKit, Chromebooks, etc. So if you would like to engage with our team on that, please do let us know. So we'll ask one more question, and this is coming from Heidi. Heidi asks, when a file is converted from Word to Google Doc, when the file is returned to student, does it convert the Google Doc back to a Word file? If so, what happens to the comments?
Good question. When it's sent back to the student, it is actually sent back as a Google Doc. So the student will be able to see all the comments that are left and can open it within Docs.
Perfect. And with that, we are at time for Q&A. So we want to say thank you so much to those of you that did submit questions. And we'll be working on answering these questions retroactively after the session as well. So we apologize if we did not have time to get your question today, but we will work to make sure that that question gets answered. And from all of us here, we want to say a big thank you for joining us today. We recognize that as educators and working in the educational environment, you have lots of things on your plate and you are busy. So we very much appreciate you spending this time with us today. We hope that it was beneficial, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.